Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, planning for the next generation in your operation, how to build personal wealth outside of your business, and the secrets to re-engineering a profitable circus. Hello, welcome to Kochie's Business Builders. Today we're going to talk about icons. Now, nothing quite that big, but an iconic business that's been going a whole lot longer than the bridge, and a business that we can learn a lot from in terms of succession planning. More on that in a tick, but in the meantime, news you can use. And would you believe a single compliment to an employee will make them perform a task more efficiently? That's according to new research out of Japan. You see, it's treated like a social reward and stimulates the brain and a hormone in the brain that will make them perform a task a lot more efficiently. Part of the brain that reacts to a cash reward. So not only is a compliment good for staff morale, it's good for the bottom line because your staff will be more efficient. It's something few of us like to think about. Who will take over from us when we leave the business or fall off the twig? But it's one of the greatest challenges for every small business, particularly a family business, because we generally fail to plan properly for succession. One organisation has done it well, and we can all learn from it. Akubra is one of our country's most iconic brands. Managing Director Stephen Keir recently succeeded his father to become the fourth generation in the business. I sent succession planning expert Anthony Mitchell round to learn how they tackled the transition.
Stephen, a lot of family businesses pay very little attention to succession planning. I know that, of course, you have at Akubra. Why do you think that succession planning is so important for a family business?
I think really over the years, a lot of businesses just been handed down and it's a given on where it's going and all that sort of stuff, and there's other family members involved. And my father decided about 12 or 13 years ago that he needed to look into succession planning and got some advice from our accountant and also a lawyer, and went into motion from there. And it basically, really what it does in the end for us is it gives us direction on where all the family members stand with the business and where it's hoping to go in the future.
One of the things I think you've done well is the way that you've augmented the board over time. Can you tell me a little about what your father did there and what you've done since to strengthen your board?
Yeah, we originally started with a board a long time ago, before I started here. I've been here for 23 years. And basically we had a board of directors in place at the time, and when my father decided to put some independent directors in place that weren't involved in the family or in the business itself. There's two independent directors from Sydney, and it just sheds a bit of different light on the board. When you're entrenched in this business and everyone's got the same thought processes about their family business, you need some outside influence. It's been a treat, actually. It's been really good.
Traditionally, it's always been the case that a family member has gone from the factory to the office and then to running the business. Might that look different for you in the future?
I did exactly what you've just said, but I want my three kids to try and go to university if they can, or get a further education. These days you need that. So yeah, we want a bit of extra training involved with the kids. It's difficult. Manufacturing a product is not easy. Making a fur felt hat is not easy. I'd still like to see whoever comes into this business do a bit of work on the floor to see what is involved and how it's done. But we don't know if there's any. Maybe none of them will be interested. We don't know.
In a family business, it's often the case that the CEO and the chairman are one and the same. However, Akubra is a large business these days. Have you considered that at some stage it might be valuable to separate governance from management, the chairman from who is the CEO?
There are times where I think that you need that. I really do, because we're 5 generations old in this company. This is all we've ever done. We all sort of think the same. And I think sometimes you need someone from outside the square to maybe put a different perspective on things, and it could come to that, yeah.
The three key pieces of advice that I would give to any family business looking at succession are, firstly, make sure that you have more than one candidate that you can consider so that you have some options. Secondly, have someone who could take over tomorrow if they had to. And thirdly, make sure that you are clear on whether you definitely want it to be a family member or whether you are open to other possibilities.
Ask yourself this question right now. If someone had to take over your business tomorrow, who would it be? Go to the website for more of the interview and more great tips. Coming up, how to build personal wealth from your business.
This segment brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
La Porchetta was started by two co-founders, Rocky Pantaleo and Felicia Nania. Started off as a small pizza shop in North Carlton, in Melbourne, and it's now a franchise of 74 restaurants. It's all Italian cuisine, and we cater to families, and we're in Australia and New Zealand.
La Porchetta has a crisis management plan. Tell us about when you had to implement it.
We started our plan in 2008 and then finalised it in 2009. In 2010, my brother, one of the co-founders, was tragically killed, and we needed to enact the crisis plan. And we needed to basically communicate to all the franchisees and all the stakeholders and the staff to make them aware of what was happening and that La Porchetta would continue to thrive in what we did.
What advice would you give other family-run businesses when they're thinking about crisis management plans?
Don't take anything for granted. One of the things that I see in family business that's taken for granted is they don't have a succession plan. So it's about what is your succession plan? Have you thought about that? Basically, have you thought about if you do have partnerships, having a buyout agreement, shareholders agreement? And the other thing I would say is their relationships with, whether it be their lawyers, their accountants or their bankers, are they great relationships? Because some of the things that happen in a sudden instance of something happening to themselves, they're really, really important. So they've got to ask themselves the question, would I like to see this family business succeed in the second and third generation? If they do, they've really got to think about that.
Visit nab.com.au/small business for more information. I'm a great believer that business owners should build personal wealth away from their business, but use their business to build that wealth. As an owner, you take enormous risks in your business, so you should be trying to look to accumulate a little nest egg away from it. I caught up with MLC's personal finance guru, Gemma Dale, for some tips on how to do it. Gemma Dale, welcome to the program. We are going to focus on the individual business owner. 6 best ways to build wealth, personal wealth, out of your business. Hit us with them. Number 1.
So the first thing we always say to every small business owner and large business owner, if that's what it comes to, is insure yourself. Make sure that you have insurance that will protect you in case anything goes wrong. So it sounds pretty unsexy, it doesn't sound very interesting, but for most people, when you're starting a business or you're running a business, you're the biggest asset. You are the person running the business, you're setting the strategy, you're doing so much of the work. If you're not insured and something goes wrong, that's pretty much the end of the business for many people. Once you get a bigger business, that could be someone working for you, and then you need to insure them as well.
Beauty. Number 2.
So number 2 is get your debt under control. So your personal debt, making sure that you're reducing that regularly and effectively, get onto that really early.
3.
Superannuation. So we love super. It is the most tax-effective investment you can make for most people. It's astonishing how many people aren't really thinking about it for the first 2 or 3 decades of their working life. That's pretty worrying. So we say, understand your super, know where it is, have it all in at least 1 or 2 places. So be sure you know where it's invested, have a strategy, work out what that strategy is going to be for the long term as well as the near term, and think about it regularly.
So you just don't think about contributing for your staff, you've got to contribute for yourself as well.
Absolutely. So the 4th one is contribute. So having it's fantastic, but making sure you're putting money in on a regular basis, that's absolutely critical.
5?
5 is making sure that you pay yourself first. So this concept of managing your cash flow, you know it's critical for your business, but managing it for yourself is quite challenging for a lot of people. So thinking about ensuring that you're extracting just a little bit to put away for yourself, whether you're saving up for something important, using it to pay off debt, or just ensuring that you actually have a cash buffer if something goes wrong is critical.
Now your final one, number 6.
So number 6 is, once you've got all that other stuff sorted, start think about diversifying. So you can start to think then about whether or not you want to move into perhaps some property outside your personal home. You might want to think about a share portfolio, having assets apart from your business and apart from your superannuation that will support you as you get older.
Gemma, that's terrific. Great to see you. It's easy to forget you are your business's biggest asset. Get your personal finances in order and it'll give you great peace of mind for the year ahead. After the break, KBB runs away with the circus.
This business tip brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
As a business owner, you diversify risks and your investments every day, but you might not be doing this in your personal life. Here are some simple strategies that will help you build, manage and protect your wealth for the future. So where do you start? Well, firstly, assess the value of your business. Your ability to produce income is the most important asset you have. You can do this by consulting a business succession advisor who can ensure the business value can still be there if you can't. Then, think about diversifying your investments. The old saying about not putting all of your eggs in the one basket applies to business as well. By considering a capital or income allocation to shares and property outside of your business assets, you can reduce investment risk and build another income-producing portfolio. Finally, consider making these sorts of investments within a superannuation trust. By doing this, you can benefit from immediate tax advantages on your income, but it's important to understand your obligations and seek specialist advice. A quality financial plan prepared by an advisor who understands small business can help you achieve these goals and steer you and your business to a successful future. For more advice, go to nab.com.au/smallbusiness.
Our next guests don't run any ordinary business. In fact, one's a clown and the other trains dogs to jump through hoops. But running a business under the big top is no laughing matter. Let's see how our entrepreneurs in the spotlight have walked the tightrope of business success. Look out, Weber's Circus is in town. Rudy and Natalie Webber were born into the circus. They launched their own 6 years ago and are one of just a handful of circuses in Australia. I caught up with them just before showtime to find out how they managed their business on the move and how they've re-engineered over the years. It is a real family business, Natalie, isn't it? Give us an indication how much.
Well, Rudy and I have got 3 daughters on the show. Our eldest daughter's married, so her husband and their 2 children. Rudy's brother with his wife and 3 children. My sister with her daughter as well. So we've got like a lot of family as well as some overseas artists to make it different to the acts that we can perform.
When I saw the show, the star high wire performer before the show was taking everyone's photo and selling photos at half time. And is that the secret to make it work, the multi-skilling of the staff?
For us, it's very important that everyone gets in, helps, and by everyone helping, no one feels that they're better than the next person.
And your budget is also kept down through that as well, which makes it easier to travel.
How do you market yourself?
Signs around town and the newspapers. We do a little bit of everything, don't we? Radio. We try and do a little bit of everything. But we also found out that the location of seeing the tent is the best publicity you can get. If you're sort of hidden and people have to find you or can't see you, that's one thing that will go against you in that town.
And Natalie, how often do you change the product? How often do you have to evolve it?
We might come up with something, but it might take 12 months before it actually can go in the show, with the preparation of training, costuming, music and choreographing the whole act together. But we just add new things all the time. Take out some of the regular things that people have seen and then put in something new.
When you look forward, what's the future of the circus?
As our children grow up and grandchildren grow up and they are more and more introduced, they will sort of probably start taking over, and they've got a lot of different ideas.
You've got to be a good breeder in the circus, don't you? Because that's where your staff comes from.
That's true. But our kids have got a lot of good ideas, haven't they, too, with a lot of the acts and things.
I mean, once it gets to a certain stage, like our daughter now, she's 23, right? You start listening to what they've got to say about modernising shows and modernising the music, the lighting, all of that, because they're the ones that are actually going out there to the nightclub, seeing what's happening, seeing what the younger generation want to see.
Natalie, when I brought the grandkids here, I thought, OK, you've got a really accessible ticket price, but then the importance of the other revenue streams, the photos, fairy floss, the side shows, do you have to be really inventive with that? And how important is it?
Well, we just try and have a good variety for people to choose from. So we try and be, I suppose, a little bit inventive. You know, we've got the pony rides that have been introduced now, and there's the laughing clowns, which my cousins have. But we don't own everything out the front. Other people, that's part of their different things as well. So which keeps our costs down if they've got something that they're earning their, money off as well.
Look, it's a fascinating business. When I came to see the show, I just watched everyone and thought, this is a really slick operation. Fascinating business model. Thank you for joining us. Not even a circus can run successfully without a strong business model and finely tuned processes. See the full interview on our website. Coming up next, it's time for Ask Kochie, where we answer your burning business questions.
This is an iconic business in northeastern Tasmania which grows true French lavender, fine oil production and tourism. For us, it's so important to have a website which has got spontaneity and vitality. We're changing daily as a business and we need to communicate that to our customer base.
KBB Webinar Box is really good because I'm not tech savvy whatsoever, so it's really simple to use. It's got a lot of help functions there if you ever get stuck. It's really easy to maintain and it just works.
To start your free trial today, go to kbbinabox.com.au. This segment brought to you by Microsoft Office 365, providing worry-free IT, allowing you to work securely from anywhere on any device. Rookie Recruits is a recruitment business that places people with between 0 and 3 years experience into a range of jobs across different industries, and then for the next 12 months coaches and mentors the candidates. It's a really successful business model, but they face some real IT challenges. This is how they overcame them. What was your biggest challenge?
We work in a very innovative way, which helps us keep our costs down, but we wanted to be able to utilise, resources like work at home mums and dads and students, etc., who couldn't fit into that normal 9 to 5 come to our office mould. So that's where Office 365 came in and helped us with being able to have everybody work from whatever location on whatever device and upload all of our systems and documents live so that we could all keep track of what everybody was doing from wherever they happen to be.
So Rob, as one of the Rookie Recruits coaches, how does it help you specifically in that area?
Well, the SharePoint 365 allows us not only to access the same documents in one localised place, but we can also use the online tools, edit them and access our emails, our calendars, as well as Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's available to be accessed by any device, wherever I am, iPad, phone or computer, whether that's Macs or PCs at home or in the office, I can access the same information and I see the same as everybody else does.
Yep, and the video conferencing side of it?
So the link online allows us to video conference and communicate internally really easily, and again, all in the one place using the Microsoft 365 package.
Was it easy to get up and running though?
Yeah, it was very easy to get up and running. We didn't have any particular problems. It was up and running in a very short period of time. We didn't lose any productivity. We didn't have to purchase any new equipment, any device we've got. We don't have servers, etc. on site here. We don't have an IT department. So all of that just made it really quick and easy and cost effective for us.
Why was that commercially a more sensible option than, say, some of the alternatives?
Look, I think a couple of key things is people are comfortable with the Microsoft suite, Excel, Outlook, etc. So it's what they're used to, what they find it easy to use. And look, it's pretty simple. It came down to it kept our productivity high and the costs really low. I mean, I think it costs us effectively the price of a sandwich for each staff member per month. So, it's pretty economical for the results that we get.
Transform the way you work with Office 365. Go to office365.com.au to get started. Now it's time to answer some of your questions, and Chris writes in saying, I keep cold calling to sell to big companies, but I can't seem to get through the gatekeepers, the secretaries, the PAs, the like. Any advice? Chris, it really is tough, but it all starts with researching your target company really carefully. Try and identify a specific person that you want to talk to, and then act like a big company. Show that you've done business for other similar sorts of companies and you've been successful at it. And don't be intimidated. We have a great story on the KBB website. This is the URL to get to it, which gives you some terrific pointers on cold calling. So good luck. Don't be intimidated. Be confident. Catch you next time. Next week on KBB, how to get your pricing just right, handling the seasonal slowdown in your business, and a couple of blokes who built an empire from sharing a car among their neighbours.